back into business. So I laid out my plan on Monday that I'm thrilled to talk to you about here today and what it means for Cambridge and Kitchener and Waterloo. But in my home area, the Niagara region, shares many of the characteristics of Cambridge, Kitchener, Waterloo. We have the highest unemployment rate in Ontario. And like here, we've lost an awful lot of manufacturing jobs. And we're growing up in my hometown of Fort Erie, and most of my friends, their moms or dads, they worked in the plant. They worked in industry. Now we've lost 2 out of 5 of those jobs that had been there in 2003, and Niagara now gone. And that replicates here. And I know 300,000 lost manufacturing jobs in our province alone. It needs particular attention. So that's all wrong. It shows we need to turn things around. And that's why the call for the Million Jobs Act is so right and so needed. Once passed, I'm not giving hope that we may get some votes from the other two parties. We started a new year now. 2014, you can always be an optimist. But if it passed, it gets about immediately creating the environment for jobs to be created again. I'm not one who believes the government creates jobs. That's not our role. But our role is to create the environment for you to succeed, to have the confidence to invest, to put a new machine on, sell a new product, hire men and women again in this great province. And then send a message to that young graduate from Laurier or Waterloo who got their degree, but they're deep in tuition debt, and they're back home with mom and dad. There's no jobs out there for them to go to. Make sure we send a signal to them to think of the future here in Kitchener, Waterloo, Cambridge, and the province of Ontario, not head west to Alberta, BC, or Saskatchewan, where they are creating jobs. You know, I was talking to a guy the other day who has 2 daughters, both with their master's degrees. Both of them have jobs, a lot of talent, but both his daughters are working over in England. They couldn't find work in the province of Ontario. But you all have stories like that, your own neighbors and your own kids, right across this community. It's wrong, it's a shame, there's a devastating loss of talent. So let me get to my bill. The goal of my bill is to produce more jobs with better take-home pay through lower taxes and less debt. We've got to balance the books. And I know in my mind and feel in my heart that well-run provinces, well, they keep and they attract well-run businesses. My bill will ensure affordable energy. It will create jobs, not eliminate them. It will train more skilled workers by working with our colleges like Conestoga to meet the demand in trades and help young people find good jobs and start their own businesses. It will increase trade with our neighbors, beginning with here in Canada by knocking down into provincial trade barriers to put more made-in-Ontario products on the shelves across this country. And it will end the bureaucratic runaround that inhibits job creation. Those are my 5 points. And basically, no stone will go unturned if it is a stumbling block to building a better Ontario for all of us. From my point of view, every decision, every argument, every dispute must get settled for what it will do to create jobs. Put people back to work in our province. Nothing else is anywhere near as important. So before I get into what the Ontario will look like under a PC government, let me tell you a little bit about what 2 of your local members have done that are part of my bill. I talked about manufacturing, by the way, and Ted Arnott, member for Wellington Halton Hills. You sounded the alarm bell 7, 8 years ago. The decline in manufacturing. Recently said last A.O. Smith in your riding. Ted sent those alarm bells. We set out to do some work to say, okay, how do we actually rebuild our economy and put an emphasis on manufacturing jobs again? And Rob Leone, you have a representative who, among other things, was instrumental in uncovering the Liberals' gas plant scandal with a motion of contempt that exposed the waste of $1.1 of your dollars just to buy 2 seats in the last election campaign. Great opposition member work, holding government to account, care what party you're from. It was outstanding work. But very importantly for the topic at hand, Rob brought forward a breakthrough white paper on post-secondary education. You get a chance to read it? If you did, it should. Because it talks about how we can actually match up post-secondary education to the workplace and give students some hope in our province. He has in there a theme called Colleges First, to encourage more high school students to enter into skilled trades and applied learning, and allowing colleges to offer 3-year applied sciences degrees that would meet the job market needs in the skilled trades. I think this is a tremendous idea. I think we tremendously undervalue today's skilled trades and the role of our colleges like Conestoga. I think Rob did great work. Friends, I made it a key part of my Million Jobs Act. What do you think of his suggestions? Michael Harris, of course, brought forward a number of great ideas, our environment critic as well. But what I want to focus on today, I know many of you in this room, well, I think the vast majority support, and that's with Michael's dogged determination to bring fairness to contractors and a fair deal to taxpayers by eliminating closed tendering in our province. I know we've had the endorsements of the chambers on that bill. I appreciate your leadership in backing what is, sadly, a classic example of the red tape that we need to eliminate. I mentioned my 5-point plan, skilled trades, that was Leone. I talked about red tape. This is the classic, sad example of outdated laws that may have had some relevance 30, 40 years ago at that, but don't in the modern economy. I mean, why would we restrict contracts that you pay for as a taxpayer to a politically connected union only? Because outdated laws doesn't make any sense. I think one of the great values that makes us proud as Canadians is fairness, to give everybody a fair shot. The thousands of contractors in the area should be able to bid on municipal projects, provincial projects, hydro projects. My point of view is an open tender, a competition to get the best value at the best price to the taxpayer. What's wrong with that? So altogether, you know what? There's a great example of what needs to be eliminated in red tape side. We have almost 400,000 rules and regulations. I'm tired of the runaround. The hassle you have to go through if you have the audacity to try to create a job in our province. Expand your business. If you're a charity, a municipality trying to get something done, it seems like government's always standing in your way. Part of my plan in our bill, reduce those rules and regulations by a minimum of 1/3. Take off the handcuffs. Let you get back to work and creating jobs in our province. A lot of more details in my plan. Let me make this point too. Obviously, the plan today is not working. Otherwise, we would not be going backwards. We would not have lost the 300,000 manufacturing jobs. My point of view is if the old ideas aren't working, it's time to try something new. And the NDP, I mean, we sit there every day with them in the legislature. They seem to have these unrealistic ideas and unaffordable promises that will drive up the debt and drive up taxes even further. That's what motivated me to run back in 1995, by the way. I was tired of seeing the NDP policies chasing jobs out of our province. If you like what's going on, I guess you know the party to vote for. If you want to see them go further down that path of high energy, high tax, and deeper debt, well, you got your choice. It's pretty clear. But if you want a government to get costs under control and focus on the economy, look at us, look at our plan. What does that mean for your own backyard here in Cambridge and Kitchener, Waterloo? Well, the Chambers of Commerce here represented, I think, almost 4,000 businesses across the region altogether. And back in September of last year, the Liberals and the NDP didn't listen to you and the people you employ when they rejected Michael Harris's Bill number 73 to end closed tendering. And not only would that have reinstated the rights of thousands of contractors who are unfairly barred from bidding on public infrastructure projects that they pay for with their own tax dollars. When you lower the cost of building these projects and improve the quality, more gets done. It means you lay down more pavement, you can build more buildings. Better for taxpayers at the end of the day. So I will tell you that 2 members here in the Kitchener Waterloo region did not vote for Mike's bill. I think you know who they are. But it wasn't Harris, Leone, or Arnold. Let me tell you that. In the Million Jobs Act, they clearly outlined the way back to prosperity in our great province of Ontario. 150,000 jobs a year on average over 8 years to get us back on top again. In Ontario, that's first in jobs and last in debt, not the other way around. And I know sometimes when you hear politicians that lay out bold visions, you think, well, that sounds a lot like political rhetoric. The difference here is that our plan actually backs the talk, does the walk. It's based on ideas that have worked in our past and are working elsewhere today. Because at our core, we in the Ontario PC Party and my proud team here today, we believe in Ontarians. We believe in the incredible work ethic we have in the province. I tell folks here in Cambridge, Kitchener, Waterloo what that's all about and where you come from. We believe in the talent of our entrepreneurs, our ability to innovate and compete with anybody in the world. Our province is blessed by vast and valuable resources that are in demand the world over. We're on the doorstep of hundreds of millions of consumers in bordering states and provinces. We've got what it takes. There's an expensive government in the way of stopping good things from happening. It's my personal view on this. It's time to stop waiting for better. It's time to make better happen. Ontario in 2014, friends, is at a tipping point. 10 years of overspending has dug our province into a deep hole. Our debt has doubled. We've lost 300,000 manufacturing jobs. At the same time, we added on, believe it or not, 300,000 more jobs to the government payroll. And for 84 months, 7 straight years, Ontario's unemployment rate has been above the national average. This mighty engine of job creation that always defined this great province of Ontario, 7 years, it passed us by. It's not the Ontario we've ever believed we'd see. It's not the Ontario I want to see for my daughter when she grows up. I want to be Premier of the province of Ontario to put us on a new, fresh, and different path. And I want to bring hope back to those families who have lost their jobs. And I want to bring hope and opportunity back to that Laurier or Waterloo graduate or Conestoga graduate who's now living out west. I never actually, I think with Rob and Michael and I were at Conestoga College not too long ago. We were in one of the trades classes. And I said to those students, how many of you, there's probably about 20 or so in the class. I said, how many of you have a friend, a buddy, or a brother or sister who went through Conestoga, they got a job, but it's out west? And almost every one of them put up their hands. Look, I'm happy they're working, and I'm happy they're working in their great country, Canada. I just want to see them here in the province of Ontario. So my Ontario educated and talented young people won't have to live with mom and dad because they'll get out there and they'll find a good job and buy their own home. That's what I want to see. My Million Jobs Act will be the antidote and catalyst that Ontario desperately needs. My Ontario includes all of Ontario. Ontario can and will do better. So what does my plan do? We'll balance the budget. We'll pay down the debt. We'll have a well-run province that's working on all throttles to keep and track well-run businesses. That will mean some tough decisions. It does mean a public sector wage freeze. We'll reduce corporate taxes. And we'll reduce by 1/3 the regulatory burdens that hold you back. To afford cost-efficient and reliable energy, particularly important to manufacturing, it means the end of any new subsidies for wind and solar projects to simply drive up our prices. I see a lot of heads nodding when I walk through our plan, but the choices are out there. They're easy to see. They're just hard to do. It takes some courage. But at the end of the day, it's going to be worth it for all of us. We're the hardest working people anywhere in this country. We're talented. We're productive. We're industrious. We've sustained this province. We've helped to grow the country of Canada. We are people with an uncommon work ethic and an unparalleled fortitude that built us in the best home for job creators, that built Ontario as the best home for small business. The people of Ontario would never dream of giving up, and they don't expect their government to give up either. And I am with them. Successful leaders are the ones who embrace the need for change, not those who pretend that that need doesn't exist. The ideas I laid out on Monday and here today, they'll roll it across the province. And look, they're not without political risk. But the future of Ontario is too important not to be bold. I didn't get into this business to hedge my bets. I didn't get into politics to play it easy. I got in this business to fight for a better future. For all of us. And the problem is that hard-working, middle-class Ontarians, the million that are out of work, they don't have it so good. And the other parties and some of the public sector union leadership, they'll fight our plan. But they've got it pretty good right now. The problem is, the vast majority of Ontarians don't. You know what you hear from the special interests? They want to protect what they have. I want to create more jobs for Ontarians and restore hope to that next generation. So a message to them, my message to you, when I'm elected, things will change. The Million Jobs Act, that's just the beginning. More paychecks, better take-home pay, and an Ontario that leaves again. Thank you.